last but not least this week, and this is really going to be kind of the main topic of the show as well. We have an interview with Dune director Denis Villeneuve, and I think I've just really nailed his name by now. I've got it mastered. Um, Apparently, he sat down with
Yeah,
El
between
El
that
Mundo
and your Shang-Chi,
Shang-Chi pronunciation.
we're getting good at this.
Yeah, we're getting professional here.
Yeah.
Um, so he sat down for an interview and just was during the interview, I guess the outlet pointed out about something about blockbuster movies wanting to become the conscience against the drift of capitalism.
I don't
Um,
know what that means.
I don't really either, but um, Denis admitted that he thinks big budget movies are still artistically relevant, citing filmmakers like Christopher Nolan and Alfonso Cuarón being able to kind of have those big budget films still be artistic and relevant at the same time. Um, but he also had some things to say about like Marvel type
Can I
movies
ask
and
a
big
question right there?
blockbusters. Yeah.
Has anyone said that big budget films are not relevant?
Um, Not to my knowledge.
Right.
So who
Okay.
knows? Yeah, it's a fair question. Um,
Push on.
yeah. So, and he's quoted here as saying, "Perhaps the problem is that we are in front of too many Marvel movies that are nothing more than a cut and paste of others. Perhaps these types of movies have turned us into zombies a bit, but big and expensive movies of great value, there are many today. I don't feel capable of being pessimistic at all." Um, so I don't know, really know what to make of this quote.
I don't know
Um,
either. I
but
don't know what point he's trying to make. Like,
yeah, I mean, here's what my thoughts were. To me, Denis Villeneuve here sounds like a Pittsburgh Steeler fan who just hates Tom Brady, um, because Tom Brady just keeps winning. You know, he will not stop winning, and we just hate him because he's winning. You know, he's not really a bad player. He's a really great player, but you know, as a Steeler fan, I don't want to see him win, and I'm tired of it. Um, so when you're Denis Villeneuve and you're one of the best directors in the industry, arguably, and you're making a film like Dune, that yeah, it's a big budget film and it's larger in scale, but it's also going to be an artistic film, I think, and he's a great director. And you think about the fact that it's probably not going to make as much money as like a Marvel film would. It might not be as financially successful, especially when you're dealing with the strategy that HBO Max and Warner Brothers or Warner whatever now Warner Media with their day and date and everything, and because there were conversations about Dune being an exception to that day and date release strategy, but then they decided they were gonna stick with day and date for it. So I see where he's coming from on one hand. Just I'm playing devil's advocate kind of, where he's got to be frustrated that he's putting his heart and soul and he's a great filmmaker into this film that might fail. Whereas you have all these Marvel films that just keep churning out these films that are successful, and while I really love them too, um, people not as many people are going to see Dune. So
right.
that's kind of my take on it, but
Yeah, I mean, um, you think any of this has to do with the frustrations of the day and date thing?
I think it has a lot to do with it.
I mean,
I
we
really
just heard
do.
this week. We didn't have this on the news. But we just Christopher Nolan's next movie is going to be at Universal. I think
Yeah, because
I
he's
think he
done
was
with.
really chapped with Warner after the whole day and date thing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Um, so I don't. I think maybe some of it has to do with that. But then
hmm
I read through this and it's all like like my question before, like what point is he trying to make here? Because he kind of goes into cutting up Marvel a little bit, but then he goes
Mm-hmm.
on to say, big, there's plenty of big and expensive movies of great value right now, and he's not
Yeah.
pessimistic at all. So,
Yeah.
s- okay,
Right.
that's a
It's kind of
crazy,
confusing.
that's a crazy way of being not pessimistic at all.
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I
I
don't.
maybe what he's saying is, okay, look, I feel optimistic about my movie. I think it's fantastic, but if it doesn't succeed, it's because of those darn Marvel movies, those cut and paste Marvel movies. Um, but what do you think? Do you think these movies are turning us into zombies? I mean, we know that Marvel is turning its heroes into zombies in What If,
Yeah.
but are they turning us into zombies too?
Um. No.
No, I don't
I
feel like a zombie either.
I don't know. I don't know where I feel like my movie going experience has been cheapened by Marvel in the last 20 years.
Hmm.
If Marvel never did an MCU, I would still go see superhero movies.
Yeah.
They might not be as, might not see them at the rate that I see them today, because Marvel does one of these things a year or more. Um,
Hmm.
but I mean, I would still be going to see superhero movies. I would still be going to see sci-fi movies and stuff like that. It's not that I'm gonna, you know, start watching French movies if Marvel never existed. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Sure.
I don't think that has changed my movie going experience at all. It's just that I have more stuff that I enjoy that I want to look forward to, and it just to me sounds like Denis Villeneuve. Did I do it?
Denis Villeneuve, you got
All
it.
right. It sounds like these just aren't his movies, and that's fine.
Hmm.
But I don't know why we have to cut down movies of that other people enjoy. You
Yeah.
know?
Did you feel attacked and offended
No, I
about his comments?
no. Like I don't get
No.
offended. No, I don't get offended
Me
by this stuff. I mean,
neither.
I'm gonna go to what's the next one coming up? Is it Eternals?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Eternals and I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna have a great time. And I'm going to totally forget about what Denis Villeneuve said in September of this year when I'm sitting in that theater watching another Marvel movie. It just doesn't matter to me, you know.
Yeah.
And I also don't see where they are really cut and paste, either. Um,
Right.
there's
Yeah, that's
some
a good question too. Yeah. Do you think they're cut and paste?
there's some formulas there I think that get repeated, especially when you're looking at like origin stories, kind of like what we saw with Shang-Chi, I mean, I wouldn't really call the idea of Shang-Chi, this hero that rises, in the face of adversity or even from his own, pressure from his own family. I wouldn't call that an original story, you know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so I
But it
guess,
felt fresh,
yeah,
because it
sure.
was,
So I mean,
yeah.
I guess in that sense you could call it cut and paste, but I don't see where Marvel as a whole is cut and paste at all. In fact, I feel like we get a lot of different types of stories in Marvel. Um,
And I think,
Go ahead.
and I'm wondering if he forgot that he's making a movie that's based on a book
I was gonna say that too.
too. So there's
That has
that.
also been a movie
A
before.
movie already too.
Yeah.
So there might be a little cut and paste going on with the dialogue even, I'm
there's
sure.
there's a little
Um,
irony there. Yeah.
it is irony, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I guess what I'll say about Marvel films and those types of films is they're a little bit more, I would say they're more accessible to more people. Um, I would say, they're easier to follow. They're usually pretty clear cut. There's usually a good amount of humor in them
Hmm.
for comic relief. You have your action, your characters that you care about. It's not they're not hugely complex films. Um, but so they're for a broader audience,
Right. Right.
um, but then you have a certain audience who's going to want to see a film like Dune or read a novel like Dune. Maybe they like to think a little more critically. They don't want to, you know, just sit back and enjoy it. They want to dig into it. They want to think about it. They want to, they like those more complex stories and everything. So, it's more of kind of, I guess, a niche, however you say that word, group of people maybe. But, so I do think, I'm really excited about Dune. I'm still excited about Dune.
No, yeah, yeah,
No matter what he
right,
said.
right.
Um, I'm gonna see it, and I'm
I
excited
mean,
about it. What
I
what I'm
I
concerned.
I haven't boycotted Martin Scorsese movies yet. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I mean
yeah,
he didn't have very nice things to say about Marvel either a
right.
year or so ago. So
The one you were gonna say something before I take over.
yeah, I am worried that I am gonna be super pumped for Dune, and I'm gonna really love it, and then I'm not gonna get a sequel. Because because number one, it's not gonna make a lot of money. Probably, I'm assuming because people might watch it from home. Um, And then you got these comments to go along with that, which might turn some people away. Unfortunately, it's not going to turn me away, but it might turn some other people away. Um, so I'm going to get to see a movie for half a book, and then maybe I don't get to see the other half. So I'm a little
I
bummed
would
about that.
I
I,
would
I hope that
hope
doesn't happen.
I would hope that they would at least finish off the first book and just maybe not do sequels. But
Right,
it
right.
would be it would suck if they did half of a story.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm pretty sure this film is just the first half of that book.
Yeah,
Um, so
that's what I've heard.
yeah. hmm So
The other
that's
thing
what
that
I'm worried about.
yeah, and that's a valid concern too, because I mean, I don't think it's coincidence that the highest grossing movie during the pandemic has been Shang-Chi,
hmm
and I think that was because it went solely to theaters, and you know,
Yes.
I
If
think
you wanted to
we've
see it,
learned
you had to go to the movies, you know.
I think we've learned now that that's, you know, if studios want to make that type of money again, it seems like that's what you have to do.
hmm
Um, Now, one thing I'll say to Mr. Villeneuve, because he's listening, and
He's listening.
sir,
He listens weekly.
sir, Mr. Denis, um, you kind of need Marvel movies right now.
Yeah.
You need Marvel to release blockbuster movies to get people back in the theater and to want to go back and to not sit at home and watch stuff on HBO Max anymore. You need that, you know? You need
That's a very
that.
good point.
You need them to keep those theaters going so that you have a theater to put your movie into in a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's a symbiotic relationship right now, and I don't,
hmm
you know, it's not one or the other. It's not, you know, let's just do high collar, white collar movies and just forget about this other stuff, and they can put it on streaming. You know, superhero stuff can just go to Disney Plus, that type of stuff. You need to work together on this to get things back to hopefully one day where they were, you know, in 2019. Um, there's just no other choice, to be blunt about it.
I sure hope he's listening to you and you knock some sense into Mr. Denis
Yeah,
Villeneuve,
sir, sir.
and he changes his ways.
Most
Um,
respectfully, sir.
yes,
Yes.
but yeah, so we'll see what happens with this. I do think, you know, HBO Max / Warner Media, whatever. I do think they made a poor choice in not making this an exception, and
I think
this and
honestly they
Matrix
made it.
4 specifically
Yeah, I think they made a poor choice about committing to these that far out.
for a whole year. Like,
You know, way back
in the
then.
short term, I agreed with it, but
Yeah, it has
you
been
know,
frustrating sometimes with Disney. You know, trying to figure out, is this movie going to be on Disney Plus? Is it going to be premiere? Is it going to be theaters only? You know, they're kind of dragging their feet and telling us all this
hmm
stuff. That has been frustrating. But I think on the flip side of that coin, committing to these a year out, you know, back then was a little too much. You know,
yeah,
maybe could have taken it by quarter or something like that. But yeah.
agreed.
Now, as far as I know, they're still planning on going theater only again next year.
Yes,
That's what I've
I
heard,
believe
and
that's
I
the
don't
plan.
think that that's changed. So,
I don't think that's gonna change either now, given the state of things and what Shang-Chi did.
right, agreed.